All right, welcome, welcome. How's everyone doing today?
Friday.
It's Friday. Friday's here. And today we are going to connect with your market. Who is the market expert in here?
Trying to be.
Okay.
I got it pulled up right now. We get the new listings that were listed yesterday. There was 261 listings listed yesterday, or between yesterday and today. Yeah.
We're going to talk about a lot of that today. Before we even dive into anything here, why do you think that this is even an important class that we're talking about? Do you? Why? Why do you need to know?
So you can talk intelligently with your clients and advise them of what the market is doing and be aware of where your offers and things need to be.
Okay. So last night, my wife's cousin called me and wants to sell her house in Grantsville. It's actually her mom's house that passed away. Is Grantsville different than Utah County?
Yes.
100%.
If I don't do a lot in Grantsville, how do I look like the expert to someone that just called me last night?
Talk to that Jorgensen girl that just sold a house out there.
I better go do some research.
Last month.
Ooh,
Much cheaper.
what'd you sell?
I sold a 1942 flip that we didn't flip, that somebody flipped. That was a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom with a stubbed second bathroom for three. What was it? Three. I loved it. I mean, just because I didn't love it, didn't mean they didn't love it.
Yeah.
But it was a 315.
Wait, will you say that again?
Just because I didn't love it didn't mean they didn't love it. And let me assure you, they love it.
I want you to remember that statement.
Yes.
As you are looking through houses, it's not for you, it's for them. Because all the time I'll walk into a house and I think, I hate everything about this. And you know what the buyers do? This is it. This is the one. So, okay. Today, connect with your market. Who taught on Wednesday? Who did Wednesday?
Oh.
Hunter. Okay. Did he spark your career or embrace your job? Okay. That's why I'm seeing like, well, I get it. I get it. Yep. Yep. I see it. Who wants to read this Gary Keller quote for me?
Here's the truth. If it has been done in another market, it can be done in your market. Once it has been done, no matter where, it's just a matter of finding out how that can be possible in your world.
Yep. 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 Family reunion. They have panels that are sitting up there telling people exactly what they do in their market, and it will work in your market. Right? Utah County is no different than anywhere else. Everyone thinks they're special. You know who thinks they're the most special? Park City.
Oh yeah.
I literally had the team leader said that to me like 3 months ago. I called her. I was like, hey, I want to help out. I'll teach a class or whatever. She's like, oh no, we're different. I'm like, yeah, no, you're not. You're the exact same. You just think you're different. So whatever you hear will work in any single market. So we're going to talk very general about the market for a second. We are going to even dive deep into the MLS on how to figure out some stuff. And just know that everything we talk about, even in all of these Ignite classes, work for everything. So know your market. That's what we're going to do first. This is all about research and preparation. Anyone like an econ nerd like me? Is that only me? My economics? No? Econ, yes. If you're nerdy, it is, I guess. My favorite podcast is called Planet Money. It's economists talking about things. Just listen to this one on dynamic pricing in supermarkets. So they literally could change the price from the time that you grabbed it from the shelf to when you're checking out. Thought it was very interesting.
I've been in econ class.
Yeah.
Disney World one time, and we were actually standing there, picking things off the shelves, and they were changing prices as we were standing.
Yep.
Like watching it changing, boom, boom, boom.
It's very interesting. It's coming. Get ready. It's coming for everyone. So I guess let's talk about econ real quick. Econ 101. What determines prices? There's two forces in this world. Yep, supply and demand. Another way to put that, right? I don't have a board to draw on. Imagine I draw an X. Oh, way over there. Okay. You guys ready for an economics lesson? Because this will be true in everything. Do we have markers too?
Hey, sir.
Uh-oh. No,
I bet it's in the other training room.
I bet it is. I think we have Dave to run around. All right. So everything depends on how many houses are for sale and how many people want to buy those houses. So think about like 3 years ago. You guys probably weren't in real estate, but what did you hear about real estate? What happened to the prices? It's all over the news. They went up. Why'd they go up? Low interest rates. It was so cheap to get money that everyone had money, so everyone wanted to buy houses. Then things started to go backwards because of interest rates, and it went down a little bit. So this is how it works. Gosh, I knew my teacher would tell me something that would work. So you have this supply and demand, right? And it's price over time is what we're looking at here. So there is this ideal place where if we price the homes, it will get the best amount of money for more, right? Like think about this. If you price the home 20,000 over value, would you have very many buyers willing to see it? What if you price at 20 grand under value? You know what the weirdest thing is that I've always thought? Like if you overprice a home, people don't come in and say, I'd be willing to pay 20 grand less. They just say, I'm not going to buy this house for this price. They don't like make up a price. Everything is worth something. So the ideal price is when the supply and the demand meet. That's where you want to price homes. And that's what we're talking about. The problem is the supply and demand is not easy to see. Like how many people, like this home that I'm going to list, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, like 10-year-old home in Grantsville. How many people want that? Like what's the demand for that? It will depend on some of the price. It will depend on where they work. Like it's really hard to decide that.
Close to, what's that other place out there in Grantsville? It starts with a S.
Stansbury.
Park.
Like 20 minutes. It's like forever away. You might as well be in Wendover at this point. Yeah.
Stansbury Park is the nice area.
Yep. Grantsville is the ghetto. It's just, yeah, just a little further out. So it's hard to determine the supply or the demand. We can know the supply, right? I could look up and see how many 3-bedroom, 2-bath houses for a certain price are in an area, and that will tell me the supply, just not the demand. So that's what we're always playing with when we're trying to match this perfect price of supply and demand. So, okay, that's my nerdiness coming out. Sorry you had to bear with me on that one. But that's what we're going to be looking at. So I'm going backwards. So the first thing is we need to know what kind of market are we in. Buyer's market, balanced, or a seller's market? What market are we in right now?
It's a buyer's market, but I feel like it's shifting.
What else do you guys say? Do you agree with Dave? It's kind of a trick question because it depends on what you're looking at. So if you look at all of the houses, a buyer's market is more than 7 months of inventory. Do you guys know how much we're at right now? Dean usually sends it out in an email. I'll show you some things. I think we're less than 4, if I remember right. So that would put us in a seller's market, less than 5 months of inventory. A balanced market, right in the middle, and then a buyer's market. But like, let's talk about luxury homes. How long does it take them to sell?
90.
Maybe. I don't have any stats for any of these, but
$400,000 house is the last thing I read.
okay. So 55 days. So how this works, how they judge inventory is if no new homes went on the market, how long would it take every home to sell? And so right now, I think we're like 3.5, maybe 4. So let's just call it 4. So if we didn't list a single house, then every single person that wanted to buy a house could buy a house in the next 4 months. And so that's how we would judge it. What happens is when it's a seller's market, it behooves you to be a seller, right? Hence the seller's market. They have a little bit more power. They can say, no, 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 I don't want to accept your crappy offer. I'm going to counter you. Or I'm just not even going to work with you because I have multiple offers. Because there's fewer houses than there is buyers, seller's market. Now in a buyer's market, there are way too many homes out there. So buyers have all the power. So they're like, seller, like you're going to bend over backwards to even have me show your house. And then I'm going to offer whatever I want. And you're going to say yes, because I have all the power. So it's a power dynamic. Most agents live like we're in a balanced market, even when it's skewed one way or the other. You know, they really want to work for their seller and get them all that they can, even in a seller's market. So know your market. And like I said, it depends on the price of the home, the size, the area, everything, right? You might have like Vineyard. Let's say that they just go finish 5 condo complexes. That's going to be a flood of people in the condo market. So we might have a buyer's market in condos in a specific area where the rest of the state is a seller's market. That could happen. But generally speaking, I think right now we're in a seller's market, less than 5 months. Wait for it. I hate for it. Inventory. I don't know why this slide was moved to the very front. We're going to spend a little bit of time on this to figure out how to do these things. So the inventory is the number of properties for sale in a market. How many homes are for sale? I think Erica wins. It's like 7,200 right now. It's on the market. Does anyone know how to find these things? What's the inventory of your market? What's the average days your home stays on the market? What's the average price? You guys know these things?
When you send them out. In January's results, the median home price was right around 550. Days on market was around 60. The only thing that came down in January was the multifamily home price, which came down like 5 or 7%. But everything else was up. The median home price was up, listings were up.
How do you know all of this?
All the stuff.
It's just me telling you?
That's how you find all this stuff. And just, I feel like the more you know and the more you can answer about these types of questions, the more credibility you're going to get with your clients.
I agree completely. I did it right. Okay, I'm going to log into the MLS and we're going to pull up some of these stuff. 3, 2, 1.
I don't remember who was teaching, and maybe it was Hunter the other day, and he was talking about, you know, getting in the habit of looking at all the new listings that have just hit the market every morning. And
Yep.
it's a really good habit because, like, I'm working with a buyer, and so if I pull up all of the new listings, and like I saw a crappy little townhouse in Provo for $265, it's a junker, the carpet's crap, the cabinets are crap, but he's a handyman. So I sent it to him. It's right by his parents' house.
And he probably
Like,
loves
hey,
it.
dude, this one's real close to your mom and dad. Throw some new carpet in, throw some paint on the walls. So that's the kind of things that I'm seeing from doing these searches.
I love that. So let's talk about how to do that first, and then we'll dive into some numbers. So 2 ways to do it. You can just either see new listings and literally click this button. There's 102 new listings on today. Now this updates like every 15 minutes or so. Yep.
There's the market stats right there too. Why is my page different?
I don't know. You have these little things. I don't know if you can move it around. So you can click on this and see that, or in searches, I'll just do a full search, but I think you can do any of them. So if we just do active homes and do number of days back as 1, it will list everything that was listed today. Now, I don't care about things listed in like Fillmore or anything weird like that. So maybe we even say where. So we just say like Salt Lake, Utah. Where's Utah? Gotta go down. Maybe we even care about Tooele, Uinta, Summit, something like that. So we can see 154 in Salt Lake and Utah County.
Yeah, that's a lot of houses that just got listed. And if you put it on the grid view, you can see what they are.
Yep. So then I like clicking this thing and you
See
can go
there's
right
that
through.
265 one. Click on that one right there. Perfect. Awesome.
So this is a great activity to stay up to date with your market. Because you can just scroll through, does anything match every single buyer that you possibly have? Or you can look at you for an investment. At $279, 2-bed, 1-bath, 900 square feet, what does that rent for and could you buy it? Like, that might be something that you look at. So you can put any criteria in here. Oh, look, 255, we just got one more. Look at that. Then save the search and you can have it be sent to whoever your clients are. So I have myself as a client somewhere. Yep, there's me. And wait, how do you send it? View results, send listings. Nope. Anyway, then you can send it to yourself every day. So you click on a link and you just pull up all of those homes. So I have like my neighborhood. That's one of those searches I look at every single day. I used to do this to stay in touch with the market. I've gotten out of the habit, but that's a very easy way to do that. Questions on that? So easy, right?
You can do it on your phone too if you download the app.
Yeah,
Do it on
download the
your
app if you haven't. Way better downloaded. Okay, so let's jump into statistics. One of my favorite things is Rapid Stats. They plugged this in a couple years ago, and you can actually do a whole lot. So we're going to jump in that in a second. But first, I wanted to click on a few of these. Market analysis. We'll open up a nice little tab. Let's talk about some of these things. So number of residential listings entered. Where are we at? We're this little blue or purple. How are we comparing? Tell me what you glean from these kind of things. So listings entered, this is everything that goes active on the MLS.
So we're rising from the fall that was right after COVID.
Yeah, let's see. So 2023, we took a pretty sharp turn down, but that's not uncommon. You'll notice that we tend to have a good summer. And then what is this? August, it starts to slow down for September, takes a big drop October, November, December. Then we tend to have a kind of flat January and February, and then it always takes a jump. So we're tracking right with what's our yellow? 2022.
Yeah, we're having that jump right now.
Yep. So even 2023, it's the same, but we're even higher. We're have more listings. Zach's saying, what's that, 2020? So what do you think March is going to do? It's going up. Are we jumping all the way to the yellow here? We're definitely going to be above the. So we don't have a crystal ball, but we have a good idea of where we're going. So what does that mean for you?
Your sellers to get them on the market.
Yeah. So if you have a buyer, when's a good time to find houses? Yeah, if you look in the winter, like you don't have as many homes, but you probably don't have as many people searching. Now, if you can't find what you're looking for here January, February as a buyer, get ready because in March, you're going to have an influx of listings. So this 150 that we were looking at today, it wouldn't be weird if we were seeing that every day or even more than that in the near future, because we should have a lot entered. And then we might have some weird down parts in the summer, right? And we could even look back in time. July of 2023, I bet interest rates went up a whole bunch there. And that's what happened. 2022, that's when they started to go down. We never recovered. Look, we had even have our little COVID dip. We were really high and then we dipped down. So interesting. Then it has all of the different exact stats if you wanted to look at it. So active listings, these are homes for sale for the last 2 years. But just like January to now. What does this mean to you? We're the purple line. Comparing it with last year, the orange line. We're having more homes on the market. But we just saw that we're listing more, right, compared to this orange, but not a lot. So I would imagine the other thing that's affecting this is that how many days on market these homes are. Kind of interesting. Average number of active residential listings per day by month. So that's you can definitely run that report and I can show you that. So we're even a little bit more than last year, doing better than 2020, and we definitely have more inventory than 2021 and 2022. But you notice all of them kind of have this up and down, up and down. This is a pretty steep up and down. 2020 is our weird one because COVID just kind of flattened out this summertime. So get ready. We're going to have more listings and then it will come down. Always happening. Under contracts, if you compare it here, we follow about the same trend. We even jumped above what we did last year. Nope. Yep. 2 houses more for 1 day. And then it's split. So is the market better or worse with what we've seen so far? It's about the same, right? We're just kind of trailing. So you can get a good idea of general market. This is fun to look at probably about every month. Number of under contracts. You'll see we're a lot lower than we have in the past. What does that mean? Definitely have to work harder. The best news for you guys is you're getting used to this while everyone else is used to this. So everyone was used to real estate being quote unquote easy. It wasn't easy. It's a different kind of hard. 2-3 years ago, everyone would have to you'd make offers often and you'd be in multiple offer situations every single time. That was very challenging. You had to be on top of it to go see houses. You had to like bend over backwards for the sellers. So people were showing more houses than they do now because you wouldn't get your offers accepted. It's a different kind of hard, but there was more homes selling. There were also more buyers. So it's a little easier to get people, but a little harder to get them under contract. Now, the agents that have been in for a while say, ooh, it's hard to get people, but when you get them, they're like the best clients. They're fewer houses. They're more willing to make offers, everything like that. It's just getting comfortable with the shift. So fewer closings per agent is also what that means. That doesn't mean you have to close less. I know a lot of people that even last year had their best year, and that's that orange line, which is lower than some of these others. And it's because it's not equal. There's not a fair share that everyone's getting. So no reason why you guys can't do that. Yeah, get your own fair share, right? MREA. Average number listings, sold listings. So you can see we're kind of outpacing even last year. Active no-show listings. This means listings that you can't see, but are on the market. So most people, so for example, my cousin calls me last night, or my wife's cousin calls me and says, I want to list my house. I could send her a listing agreement for her to sign right now. And she signs it. I have, what's the law? 72 hours, 48 hours? I forget what it says. A very short amount of time. I think it's 2 days to get that home on the market. 3. Yeah, I was gonna say it used to be 72. I thought they shortened it. Maybe they brought it back out. But so 2 or 3 days to get it on the market. Now she might not be ready for it to be on the market. She might be still doing some fixes. I know she wants to get new carpet, and it's a debate. Do we go live with the old gross carpet? Do we go live with the new carpet that's going to take 30 days? And so it's like, I could have this listing agreement, and if she says, wait, let's wait till the carpet's in, I could have 30 days of it being in this active no-show. So you know that it's there, but no one can see it yet.
So that situation, were it to wait to sign the listing agreement, or would it be more for sign, put it on the market, have it, days?
So active no-show doesn't accumulate days. Yeah. And this is a fairly new section, because what we used to do is get agreements signed, and then we had to get an addendum signed saying we weren't going to put it on the market yet. And we would send that into the MLS. And so it was a lot of work. And they're like, why don't we just create a category for everything that's like coming up for people? And so this would be better, because in theory, she wants to list it now, so I'm not as nervous. And we talked about listing it like 2 months ago, and she called me, so I'm not too nervous about this. But if you were like met with someone that interviewed a couple agents, and they're like, I'm like 3 weeks out from listing it, you're going to get that agreement signed, because what if another agent snakes in? You don't have an agreement, even if they said, yeah, list my house. You don't have a signed agreement, you can't list the house. Some other agent could come in. So I get agreements as fast as possible, because then I can put them here. Worst case scenario, you can even find these houses, and I might get a call from an agent saying, hey, I saw your house, why can't we show it? And I'm like, oh, we're replacing the carpet. And they're like, we actually want this exact thing. So then I could change it to active for a day, let them go show it, then put it active no show again, and they can make an offer. Long time, as long as your agreement it lets you. Yeah. By the way, when I get agreements signed, like buyer, broker, and listing agreements, I always do them out till the end of the year or the end of the next year. The only reason I do that is because I'm okay canceling it. If they want to fire me, I'm okay canceling that agreement, not charging them any money, anything like that. But if you have, like, let's say you take 10 listings this month and they all expire at different points, you're going to have to pay attention. If your homes don't sell, they're going to expire at some time. What happens when they expire? They go to the expired list that company like LandVoice and RedX scrub all of that data and pass it out to all of these agents that are willing to call expired listings. Your seller could potentially get like 20 or 30 phone calls in a day from agents wanting to go list it. And so if you don't have a plan for if they're going to expire, then you get in trouble. So I just do all mine to the end of the year. So that's the way I know if Christmas is coming, I need to see what listings are going to expire, what's been on too long. Yes.
My clients, they are, not here from the US originally, they're from another country, and they're super leery about everything, and they absolutely balked at a year. So we had to go back and redo it in 6 months. So that was it. They would not sign.
Yeah.
So
And I'm okay. Like if people are mad about it, I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to sell your house faster than what is it? 7 months now, 8 months. Yeah.
But yeah, they absolutely read every single tiny minute detail of the entire buyer broker agreement and came back and said no, which I didn't care. Like I told them, it's okay. It doesn't bother me. Not a big deal, but yeah, no way, Jose.
Yeah. That's fine. Ooh, back to market listings. Interesting. So they're probably let's see. They were under contract or backup statuses and returned to active. So if offers fell through. Look at this. We used to be way higher, but now we're kind of back down to the norm. Interesting. So, kind of a fun little report to check out. That was a market analysis report. I do this every month, every quarter, kind of an idea, just stay up to date with kind of how things compare so you can talk about it. The other one I want to talk to, market summary report. So this one, you actually have all of the control for this. So let's see, who has a house we want to check out? Okay, tell me about this. Where is it? Let's see. What do we see? Where did you say? Okay, we're Eagle Mountain. I can take away this. So if we just say, okay, let's look at Eagle Mountain. We have all the different categories. We didn't enter in any other information. Wait, is it a house or a condo? Probably want the house. Property type, where are you? Wait, what?
Property type
Oh.
include-
Single family. So let's view the results. Oh, I still have 1 day back. Modify search. Let's just start over. Single family in Eagle Mountain. And view results. So we can see a great idea. So there's no homes listed in Eagle Mountain single family that are less than 400,000. If they're listed in this 400 to 450, there's 12 of them, and it's 35 days on market is their average, the median. Right? If we look at it all together, gosh, 1.9 million, 29 days on market. So, but you can see there's not very many, right? If we go above the million, we're literally 4 houses. So there's not a huge demand for new house or big houses. So if you were to work with a builder and they're like, I want to build $1 million homes in Eagle Mountain, you could say there's 4 that are $1 million plus. They were 150, 45, 2 days on market. So we could dive into that and see, is this one house still active and just listed 2 days ago, or did it sell in 2 days? And kind of see what's going on there. But you can kind of see, like, if we were to draw a little bell curve, right, our little, like this kind of a guy, it looks like the bulk of it is right here in this 500 range. 450 to 600 is where we kind of group all together. So if I was working with a builder, I could tell him this, like, you should probably build houses like this because everyone else is doing that. Or you should build houses that no one else is doing. Could you do it for less than 400? Even if you list it at 399.9, you're going to be that weird outlier on the far end of the bottom, which could be good. Or are we going to do nicer houses? What does that look like? Blah, blah. Or even just working with the client, right? Where are you? You can kind of see the idea of how many other listings are in that area. And you can get more granular here, so it's kind of interesting, kind of fun to play around with, see how you compare. Okay, last one, this rapid stats. Who's my analytical people here? Like, who likes the numbers? Okay, Stacy, don't get lost in this, because this can do everything. It takes all of the data from the MLS and you can filter it however you want. So real quick at a glance, we can see how many active listings today. 7295. It's just kind of fun to compare over time, right? So you can keep an idea. 60 days ago, we're down a little bit. 180 days ago, 9,300, almost 9,400. But if you look at a year ago, we're even up from there. So you can kind of get a quick little idea. They have like all of the fun little graphs and stuff. They have the supply versus demand kind of an idea. So months of supply and then the absorption rate, which is the percentage of the houses that are for sale that sell.
So it's harder to sell houses. Like, it's harder for the seller right now. That's what that's about.
Well, it's actually harder for both right now because of the interest rates. Because interest rates went up, more buyers got priced out of the market. And so there's less buyers. And so sellers also, a lot of them have great interest rates, so they don't want to sell. So fewer homes come on the market. So we're kind of balancing out the supply and demand. The thing is when they make announcements like today, where they, or I guess it was yesterday, where the Fed said, we're going to lower interest rates this year. Interest rates literally went down yesterday. And I saw some headline that there's like a surge of buyers coming into the market because of that. And so what? I don't know. Is that what they went down to? There, let's see. What's today? The 8th. They're 6.5% for a conventional, 6% for FHA today. Eric, our lender, texted out. Yeah. And let's see, what was the last time he said something? Aries. So let's see, the day before, yeah, 6.5 and 6. I'm trying to find earlier in the week. Where? Gosh, this group has too many text messages. Yeah, should I make him do it in our group chat too? Okay. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Yeah, let's see. On the 5th, so Tuesday, it was 6.75. So it literally went down 0.25, 0.25% just this week. It went down, if not even more, depending on what Monday was. It's a crapshoot.
Predicting 5.5 by the end of the year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they're hoping like into next year to be in the 4.5 to 5.5%, but who knows? That
Yeah.
would be nice.
Yeah.
But
So when I got into real estate 11 years ago, rates were in the 4s. It was like 4.5 was a common rate. And for legit 3 or 4 years, lenders were like, hey, they're going to raise this rate. So it's going to go up. So get ready, get your buyers off the fence because it's going up. It's going up. You know what happened? It never went up. And then COVID happened and it ended up going down more. And they're like, let's go crazy. Everyone get a loan because it's in the 3s, kind of an idea. And then it jumped up a whole bunch. So I think that no one ever knows anything and it's just going to surprise us. So get ready. So if someone's like, ooh, 6.5, that's kind of a high rate. I don't want to buy now. Well, what if they go to 7? If they go to 5, you can refinance.
We bought it down to 7. Yeah, we paid 7.5.
Yeah.
I know people that paid 18.
Yep.
16.
Gary Keller talks about he was doing homes at 18%.
yeah, I believe it. Like my first home, I bought in 2005, and I don't remember exactly, but it was like 7% or something like that.
Yeah. 6 is actually, right now we're at the historic average for interest rates. It just feels so bad because so recently we're twice as much as that. So it feels super huge. So, okay, why I like this rapid stats is you can get into reports. Let's see, I did some charts. So in here, I wanted to see the average days on market. So I created this report. So I can literally click view and it will give me a nice little chart of the average days on market. And so you can get lost in here as you're trying to like create a new chart. What do we want to know? How about expireds? We talked about that. Number of listings, create chart. Here's the expireds. Do you see how I did that? It was almost too fast. It was too easy. Let's see if I can do that again. So I clicked, I'm here in my charts. And then I click create a new chart. And we talked about how many expire every single day. So I figured I'd do that. So we're residential, obviously. And then the status is expireds. And then the chart data, I just did number of listings. So it's just counting it. But you can look at any of these others. And then create chart. And boom. I have this nice little chart for how many expire. And then we can get in here and change the timeline. So what if we did it for the last 3 years?
Do you agree though, Cameron, that you never predict how many days on market in certain places? It's like I have client that got property in the house in Hebron that I'm looking at it and I'm like, it is here and it's here and it's here and it's gonna, and they're like, how
Yep.
many days did it take? And I'm like, holy crap, I can't tell you that because this is like a hot mess.
Yeah. So the less volatile something is and the more data we have, the easier it would be to predict. Right? If we have this track record of everything selling in 30 days, and then you go to list the house, you can comfortably say it will probably be about 30 days. But with rates changing all of the time, who knows what this election is going to be doing for us? Usually election makes things kind of level out, but our economy is so like hanging by a thread. They're trying to do the soft landing idea. So who knows how that's going to change everything? And so what we're looking at is everything from the past. We have no idea of the future. We're just guessing based off of things. So this is an interesting chart, by the way. This expireds. Not a whole lot of expireds. Look at this, December. Why does everything expire in December?
It's like you live
Because
there.
everyone like me are like, we'll just expire at the end of the year. And then they forget about it and they expire a whole bunch. But then we go right back to normal. July of 2022 was our last low month. It'd be interesting to layer with like interest rates. Did people literally stop buying July of 2022? Like, is that the time that the market shifted? Is that the day? And then it just went crazy. We have a spike again in December. We go back down. Typically, it goes lower in the summer like this. Creeps back up in the fall. We have our spike and we're back down. So far, March, I wouldn't count this because we're, what, 8 days into March? We've already had 92. That means nothing to me. Who knows what that's going to be? So you can build out all of it, or you can just click on some of these charts here. Market statistics summary. And then you can kind of filter down from there, but it gives you these nice charts. So where I would use this the most is one for your knowledge. And then the second is those types of behaviors that are like number driven. If they're like, I would list my house if you could prove to me that it's a good time to sell. Show me the charts. Like, okay, let's see if some of these things that we could come up with make sense to say sell. And we can filter it down. But again, you can tweak and change and everything. So you're probably not going to show this to a buyer or a seller very often. Every once in a while, I'll put these in some of my like buyer and seller packets. Just be like, look at the market. You could add something like this. Like, how long does it take a home to sell typically? Like those kind of charts are interesting because you can be like, look, if your home is average and we do an average job at listing at the price, like this is what to expect for days on market. Stuff like that. Okay, the other thing. Do you guys get Dean's emails? He sent it out today. Is it bad that if I haven't even looked at my email today?
Your email is somebody else's to-do list.
Yes, that's why I don't look at it. All right, I haven't. Dean every day he sent, or every Friday.
I haven't. seen
He's been
it.
slacking. He's been slacking. So let's see, can I just share this? Anyway, I was going to share it on my phone so I don't have to log in. But if you go to any email that he sends out, usually every Friday, he always does a market stat towards the middle of the email. And he does how many number of listings, how many are active in Utah County, how many are under contract, sold in the last 30 days, and then the months of inventory. Days on market, list price, sales price, square foot, and list to sold. These are all interesting information. I like to look at the list to sold percentage. So right now, the median list price is 500,000. Well, this is a couple weeks ago. And the sales price is 485,100. So it's a little over 97%. So that means right now, on average, if you list a house, you're going to get 97% of whatever the number is you put it on the market for.
If you
What
price
does that tell you?
price-
Yeah, besides that. How about let's talk working with the seller. And they're an average house, so they're going to be like 500-ish. What should you tell them? Now's the time. You're probably going to sell for 485. Everyone else is, right? That's what all the comps are saying. We're 97% of whatever we list at. What do you tell buyers?
have them go with them. You gotta get pretty much a full price offer.
Yeah, we're 3% below full price. Yes, come in with a strong offer. 3%. So 500,000, 3%, that's, what is that, like 15 grand? So if you have a house that's listed for 420, statistically, we're going to be 3% below that is what most people would be accepting. So if you did an offer 30 grand below it, what do you think the sellers are going to say? And that happens, right?
Sessions on top of that. Because you're just still
Yep.
that day.
Well, that's the other thing that this doesn't include is concessions. Most people are probably asking for concessions right now. So we're 3%. Then what do you ask? 1, 2, 3% concessions? Like we could be 5% below what they started at. So
Go and ask for 10,000 concessions, because just remember, your client gets to ask for what they want. You can suggest all you want.
yep.
But ultimately, not
Wait, but
charge.
fill them in for the rest of the story. So this is real. She offered $30,000 too low with 10,000. Oh, 20 with the, uh-huh.
And it's like this house, by the way, you should pull it up. Want the, so they can actually, hold on, I'm gonna put the glasses on so I can tell you what it is though. So you can see what it looks like.
Do you know the address or the MLS?
Can't see without it, just a moment. I'll give you the information. It is 945 South, 500 East Brigham City. So we went in at a $400,000 offer with $10,000 in concessions because my client was a new buyer and they just felt like they wanted more than what they wanted and not what their agent suggested. And the pictures actually don't do it justice. It is a super cute house and it is worth all the pennies because it does not have to have crap done to it, and it's painted cute, it's done cute, and under right there, you go inside there, you can actually stand up tall, and it's an entire kids play area that the mom had built, has built-in kitchen, has a Barbie area in there. I mean, it is darling in there, and you can all this stuff. It is so darn cute. It does not do it justice. And we would end up with our $10,000 concessions. And you can ask Cameron, FYI, 5 p.m. is a suggested time.
Yes.
Suggested like the speed limit.
Yep. If you say respond by 5 or the offer acceptance deadline is 5 p.m. Yep, they don't have to accept it.
They just have to decline it by 5.
Yeah. So them not signing it is also them not accepting it, which means they either reject it or they're going to counter it, but you don't know when. I was telling her that nice agents will give you an idea of what they're going to do by that time, but you will not have an answer most times.
So then Cameron suggested was, hey, text next morning and say, hey, when can I expect your counter? And FYI, Gen Zs don't answer their phone, so you just send texts and what?
Or Snapchats.
So, we send texts that they send gifts and meats. I got gifts and meats.
From an agent, I love that. I haven't gotten that until we're going back and forth for a while.
I got Jon Stewart, like eating popcorn. At least they were answering. I don't give a crap because on my last one, they didn't acknowledge anything. And so we were on our fourth addendum closing finally. And we ended up
Did you get it? Is it under
425.
contract?
We ended up at full because I had told my client, I told him originally we'll put the offer in, and I said, we're gonna be at 410 at least. Like, that was my thing, is we're gonna be at 410 at least. Like, after we offered, I said, we're gonna have to go up, gonna have to go
Well,
up, it's
and-
not gonna be accepted. And they were like, okay, do you think it's worth it? I said, I told you it's worth it, because trust me, we saw a house that had a dragon river poured in epoxy as you walked in the house, and it had codpiece light fixtures hanging on the wall, and a dragon in the bathroom. And this is all the
Sounds sick.
1970s house in Hiram, and like
Pinterest has ruined everything.
the whole house had to be like redone, and this was the second house we saw. So I assure you that, yeah, and his wife said, get it, do whatever it takes. Once the wife said you have to do whatever it takes to get that house, we were done.
So I want to highlight a few common themes around something that happened in this story. So the offer started it. It wasn't a good offer. You didn't even want to make that offer, but they ended up going 25,000 higher than their first offer.
Yes, they needed the concessions because I don't think they intended to find a home so quickly. We started with them sitting at my kitchen table 2 weeks ago to buying a house in 2 weeks.
So if you can get someone to make an offer, they're way more likely to move further down the road faster. That is like a common theme around people. Now, an offer is not a big deal. This is how I tell people. It's not a big deal. If we want to back out, I'm going to build in multiple times that we can back out for multiple different reasons. So if we literally go under contract and then you have cold feet, we can cancel. If you have cold feet and then you get warm feet, the opposite of cold feet, whatever that is, well, it's harder to go back under contract. So if you wake up the next day, you have cold feet, let's kind of sit on it for a minute and see how it feels. If we end up canceling, you will get all of your earnest money back. You will get everything back, and we will be back at square one. So there's nothing wrong with making an offer. Even
People never want to make a low offer because they're afraid that they'll be rejected. That you had told me the week prior, at least you have somewhere to start.
Yep.
And that's what you said to
If
me.
you can start the offer. So if you walk in a house and someone's like, I kind of like this, but it's too much. Just ask them, what would you pay for this house? And you can offer that much money. You could walk in something like you could have walked in this one and been like, I wouldn't pay more than 400 for this house. All right, let's make an offer for 400. Are the sellers going to accept the 400 offer? Probably not, right? Because we're looking at 70 or 97% is what's normal right now. So they're not going to probably accept it, but you got the ball rolling. Maybe they're like, you know what? I actually like it and I would spend more than that. Like my gut was 400, but now that I've thought about it, I want to be in there for 415, 420. Let's see how low we can get it. You know, if they say 380, like that's way lower than it's worth, but you want to make an offer? What if you got it for 380? And then the more offers you make, the less scary it is.
Since 2019, and she had another house, maybe it was going to have to go up. She wasn't going to make enough after she paid commissions and everything else. So I'm like, yeah, no. They
Yeah.
actually wanted to go even lower, and I was like, absolutely not.
Okay, questions, and then I have a question for you. Yeah.
Can you define a little bit more how that works?
Yes. So yeah, so there are fees when you buy a house. You have to, title fees are a big one, and lender fees is the biggest one. And so both of those need to be paid at closing. And so what this is you just say, hey, seller, I need you to pay some of those. So you can talk to a title company, you can talk to a lender and say, how much will it cost? So how much concessions do we need? You can also do things like prepay some of the HOA fees with this, the HOA transfer fee that some of these properties have. So whatever the like concessions are, it's kind of a generic term for we're just going to use this money for other people in the transaction. If you don't get concessions, they're probably going to have to pay the title fees. The lender can oftentimes wrap his fees into the loan. And so it's the rate's a little bit higher, or they have to put a little more down, or some weird things like that. But then it's less at closing. So it's just how much money do you have and how much do we have to play with, kind of a concept. Yeah. Kevin, were you going to ask something? Okay. So, yes.
Just for me, just
Yep.
because you speak Spanish, I'm gonna choose.
So we're going to talk a little more about lenders, but I want a lender that is responsive and is getting the best rate for my clients, which usually means letting them shop around. What's awesome is in our brokerage, we literally have 2 great lenders. We have Security National, we have Aries Mortgage. So you can get to know both of those like companies, and they're very different in how they operate. One is like has a lot of loan products. Security National has a lot of different things. Aries, it's what's called a broker. So their favorite is called UWM, United Wholesale Mortgage, something like that, an acronym of that, where literally it's someone that has a great loan and they literally just broker out the loan. And they say, we're going to get all of the stuff, get everything you need, make it really easy and send it all over. And then UWM says, you're good to go. And so they have a slick process. So sometimes brokers are cheaper. Sometimes the traditional lenders are cheaper. They both usually beat out banks. Yeah. Banks and credit unions are usually the worst, unless you're doing a specific product. Like investors typically need 20 to 25% down. There are some credit unions that let investors do 10% down, but they're usually a worse rate. So if you don't have as much down, but you want an investment property, that might be great as long as the numbers work. So yeah, I would talk to a couple of different lenders, and I have someone's contact info in this later on in the slideshow. But so, okay, my first question though, so we listed at 430, this house. We're at 420, and that's what you accepted, right? 5 and 5,000. And so we're kind of right there at that 420. Does that sound great? We don't have enough information though, right? If you knew Brigham City, we would be able to know this. So how could you learn about Brigham City if you were this listing agent, or if these people called you to list their house? Do the research. What I would do, and I'm not going to do a real one, but I would do a CMA. And we've done a couple classes on this and we can do it again. But I just wanted to see real quick. Oh. Where'd that number of days back though? Oh, right here.
It's actually
1. Oh, it's just going to be that one that we have. Dang it. All right. I was hoping for 2 or 3 so we could quickly just judge how it is. But so you could do a CMA as well to learn. So that, like my wife's cousin that called me, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to dive deep into a CMA and I'm going to learn everything that I possibly can about all the houses that sold, why they sold, how long they took, what's some of the common themes. Like she doesn't have a finished basement. Is that common, or is a finished basement worth more? How am I going to have to discount it to get an unfinished basement sold if everyone else has a finished basement? Maybe no one cares. Maybe it's like people love it because they're like contractors and things like that moving out there. So you can start to dive in deeper there. But All of this is all on the MLS. You can all find it now. You're experts. Congratulations. You did it. This isn't my slideshow. His name's Eric Smart. If you want to talk to a lender, he's awesome. He's upstairs. Jake is good upstairs. And then Taylor and Austin are the only two that I know in Security National, but they're both great as well. And there's other lenders that come to team meeting. I would get to know some of these people, figure out who you like, because if you like them, your clients will probably like them. And that is one piece of the equation. Do you like them? Are they good? Are they responsive? And are they going to do the best for your client? So then lenders in your area, get to know them. Most of them send some sort of like newsletter type thing. And if you can get on those, it's great. Somehow I got on some lender every Tuesday, he sends out what the rate is. And I used to love that because I knew every Tuesday what the rate was. But then I have Eric text it to me every day because it's changing so much right now. So, but then you can stay up to date. And don't believe the news. I guess that might be the next one. No, don't believe the news in all of this. I would do verification because our market is different than the nation, and rates are all the same, but it's clickbait. They want you to click on things. And so if you read a headline like, worst time to get a loan right now, like, okay, well, why? Like, tell me more, and things like that. Okay, knowing economic factors. Employment, unemployment rate, how's the market? I like to just kind of listen to people as they're finding jobs. Whenever I hear someone, they're like, oh, I just quit my job. I'm always like, ooh, okay, tell me how your process is. Like, I don't know where to easily find like specific to my market data besides, hey, I'm looking for a job. It's like, all right, you got to keep me updated. And I will reach out to them constantly, like, hey, how's the job search? How's things? I want to stay up to date with my SOI so I get closings. You need to have a house to get a closing or a lot of money. Either way, that probably spells job. So I want to keep up to date with that. But then that's telling me like kind of how the market is. You know, I have some of those friends where I'm like, how do you have a job? Those are the people that are the bad examples. But if they can find a job quickly, I'm like, anyone can find a job in this market. And some people are awesome. And if they're not finding a job, I'm like, how are you not finding a job? Like, do you have so much money saved that you don't need to find a job? Or like, what's going on? So I even talk to people that I know. How many workers are entering or exiting the workforce in your market? This is probably a good idea of move in and move out rates. So more people coming to the market. When companies like Adobe announced that they were going to build their headquarters here, and then they announced they were building a whole second building, like that's a big company. They have people all over the place. So that brought a lot of people in. As like all the Silicon Slopes and things are going on, pay attention to those kind of things because that will bring workers and that is good for wages. Growth rate of the community. Has the government made any changes or rules or regulations that might affect the housing market? Did you guys watch the State of the Union address last night? I can't ever watch those. I always think I should do this because of things like this. And it is rough for me. Like I get so bored. I'm like, ah. So I did not watch it. But you know what I do is the next day I read what everyone's saying. And so the big thing they were saying is corporate taxes. Is that going to affect the housing market? How so? Yeah. Are you going to like, are corporations going to invest more into their company, into their wages, into all of that will raise wages that will let more people buy houses? Or are they going to pay more taxes? So they're going to hire less people, try to be more dependent on AI because they're paying more taxes. But then what does that mean? Like the government has more money. Are they going to do some subsidies, some grants for first-time home buyers and things like that? Like what does a bigger tax revenue mean? So I could argue that either way could be good, but I'm typically like, let's stay out of it. Kind of an iota with the government. That's how I lean. So just paying attention to things like that, because that will change a whole bunch. Okay. Good for being here.
Be here Monday. You teaching again Monday?
No, I can't remember who it is Monday. It will be great though. Someone awesome. It's great content. The next is pay attention to your neighborhood. Who's lived in Utah for a long time? Do you remember driving on the freeway past the point of the mountain, like right where Bangor is, how there was a wood building that was just like a wood half-built building for like 10 years? Anyone remember this building? Is that just me? It's the Divvy building now. It's like the west side of the freeway, south of Bangor Highway. There's a black building there now. It used to just be wood. It's like someone got like half done building it and just stopped. I get obsessed with those kind of things. Who's coming in here? Why is it half built? What's going on? Like, do you guys remember these apartments on State Street that started to build at 2008 and then they just stopped halfway through one, and it was like a half-built haunted house looking building, and now there's apartments and the Argentine restaurant and Pizza 712 or whatever that one's called. Yep, so good. Love their fries. So figuring out what's going on, like what's that like? I love researching stuff like that because how interesting is it? Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Who's in this? What's going on?
Funny thing is, my brother sells commercial real estate, and he said there's tons of empty buildings.
So many right now. Yep, we work.
Watch that.
Yes, so interesting. So look at that. Look at shops and restaurants. What's going on? Utah City. Have you guys heard about this? This will be huge. Over in Vineyard. I don't know why they're calling it Utah City. If you ask me, that's the dumbest name, but I didn't get a vote on it. But they're building all of these things out. What is that going to do? It's going to be dry, like it's going to become like a downtown type area. So is that a good or a bad thing? Some people might want to live closer. Some people might want to live further away from that. So knowing that is good. Health facilities, probably a good idea. Neighborhood attractions, parks and things, what's going on. The more you can know, like the more you are like the expert. So take some time. By the way, with all of this stuff, I would subscribe to newsletters of people that are already trying to give this information out. That's a great idea to know things like that. Like, for example, Vineyard City has a newsletter. Almost every city has a newsletter that they send out every month. You can subscribe to know what's going on in the city. And so you can get very local. You can subscribe to so many different ones that talk about economic factors, interest rates, like all of this. There are people that are already sending this content out. You don't even need to go searching for it. It can just arrive in your inbox every single day. I know like Bankrate and stuff have like interest rates type thing. I don't know how good their whole newsletter is. Bigger Pockets. Yep, Bigger Pockets is a great one for all things real estate, and they talk about interest rates a whole lot. Morning Brew is a good one for everything economic factors. Yeah, Morning Brew. Yeah, that's my favorite newsletter. I read that every single morning. There's like Robinhood snacks for a newsletter, things like that. Yep. Yeah, so there it was. These two guys started some newsletter and Robinhood bought them and then ended up selling them off or something. So they're like involved, but not really. I don't really know. Snacks. Yeah, Robinhood snacks. And most of these also have a podcast. So if you're not a newsletter person, like what podcasts are you listening to? I know like even the Wall Street Journal has like a 6-minute podcast that they release every single day of all the headlines, what's going on, trying to be unbiased and things like that. So you can start to get to know your market and just pay attention to things, because then when people are like, oh, I heard about this, you can be like, yeah, that's not real. I heard that same thing. I looked into it. No, it's not real. Or yeah, that's going to be crazy. That's going to change your life or whatever. So Okay, any ahas so far? Anything that you needed to do or learn?
Local reports. Local
S-
reports all day long.
Yes. Yeah, I love diving in all the data. Yeah, play around a little bit on the MLS because you'll learn a lot as you just clicking around.
Not to really use the data sheet and stuff like that, just not to like give it out to.
I typically don't. There's some people that want to see that. I like to put it in like newsletters, like here's what's going on in the market. You can, yeah, but like at a buyer appointment, it's not like, hey, right now is like the least affordable time to buy a house in the past 20 years. Like that's probably not a good stat to do because yeah, show them the good stats, why you should buy and things like that. But at the same time, like you don't need to hide that. Like inaffordability is a challenge right now. But if you can afford a house, you know, it's only going to get better for you. You're locking in your interest rate. So worst case scenario, you're the same. Best case scenario, you've refinanced and lower your payment. But you're locked in at this price, so nothing bad. Build your expertise. Become the real estate expert of choice. So, point 111 and 1 here. We're going to learn the market, clientele, individuals, and keep the headlines and content. So, Keller Williams, we have another acronym for you. It's LORE. It's language of real estate. So this is like what's going on in, they call it this because it's you and the market center and the market, right? Do you guys know on average how many closings a real estate agent in Utah has in a year? It's 3. 3 closings in 1 year. But I don't know this number. The average closings at Keller Williams is probably higher than 3. And if you look at yourself personally, you can for sure beat 3. Everyone in this room, there's no reason why you couldn't close more than 3 deals this year. Very easy. So it's the whole idea of like benchmarks, like where are you, where are everyone else in the brokerage, and then where's the whole market? And you can kind of look at trends and make sure that you're above average on things. And some of these things you might want to be well above average, you know. Average purchase price, we talked about that. 500,000, it's selling for like 480. If the average commission is 2.5%, how much are you making on average? Let's see. 485, 100 is the average price times 2.5%, just making up a number. So we're $11,452. So that is average. Are you making on average more than that or less than that? Kind of benchmarking yourself there. And if you're not, try to look at that. You know, I did this off an average of 2.5% commission. Could you make sure you always get 3? Could you get 3.5? Be like that weirdo that gets above industry norms or standards or whatever everyone's suing everyone about. Could you do that? Could you get 4 or 5? How crazy would that be to get 5% on a closing? Probably people out there that are doing it. And then you can kind of, if you track your numbers with this, you can see your trends. So I would start, if nothing else, start a spreadsheet and write everyone that ever closes a deal and where they buy a house. And then how much you sell it for, how much commission you made, and track all of that. It's really fun. If you guys went to Clay's Win with Sellers class, did he share his numbers? I know he often does that. He did that off of a spreadsheet that him and Johnny started in 2008. And then he had to fill back in 2007 for the few that he did. But it's literally been the same spreadsheet forever that they track the same kind of numbers so they can know how things are going. Super interesting. But start that. Learn your clientele. So learn the market, learn the stats. If you take one takeaway from this, it is this piece. So have you ever heard anyone in business say that you should have a specific niche? Do you say niche or niche? Niche. Say it in Spanish. I say niche because one time I asked Google how to say it and it said niche. So I never said niche again. Niche, whatever. So people always say, find your niche and focus in on that. And for some reason in real estate, we don't do that. And I don't know why, but I understand why not. Because if you're calling your sphere and they're like, oh, hey, my brother wants to buy a condo. And you're like, sweet. And they're like, oh, and my sister wants to buy a mansion. You're not going to say no to one of those. You're going to say yes to everything. But you will start to get some sort of trend on who you work with as buyers and who you work with on sellers. The good news is as you have these trends, you don't have to do all this market research that we just showed you about every single time. If I sold a lot of houses in Grantsville, I could tell you what this house is worth in Grantsville. Because I don't, I need to go figure it out. So when you start to have these common themes, you could use that to your benefit. My niche is coaching.
Well, I knew that. but,
Yeah.
you know, talk to, like,
Yeah.
selling and buying.
My favorite people are someone that own a home and want to invest in something and have some money. I don't do most of that. Most of the people that I work with are moving from a house to a bigger house, the move up clientele. And that is because that is my time in life. I have a lot of friends that are getting better jobs that have like a small home or town home and are moving out of that into more of this like forever home that you live in for a decade. And then you're like, I hate everything about this home. That's like my niche right now because that's who I am. So my buyers are all looking for houses that I would like to live in.
Mid-30s to 50s.
Yep, that's right in my sweet spot.
Yeah.
But when someone's like, my mom died and I need to sell her house, I am definitely saying yes to driving out to Grantsville. I will help you clean out her house if I'm going to list this thing. So you start to find these little things that work for you. Not to say that you don't focus on everyone, but can you have more specific conversations? For example, me and investors. I could start to spend some of my time looking for what listed on the market today that would be a good investment. What would be a fix and flip or a hold or an Airbnb? And I could send those out to people and say, here's a great investment. And I am starting to define my niche and serving them. Some people, yeah, I was just,
So, after like the veteran or things like that, how would they?
so you can do it a lot of different ways. And it's how do you get in front of those people is always the question. So the first is where do they hang out? And are you there or could you be there? So for example, we have lenders, inspectors, title companies, HVAC, like all of these people that are preferred vendors because they see us being real estate agents as the gatekeepers. Who are your gatekeepers? Or who has that network? Could you go join a Facebook group where all of them are? Do you know someone that is specifically in that world that you should go talk to? And can you build a relationship? Can you add value to those people? You know, like veterans, it's like, how could you get in front of a room of veterans to tell them why they should buy a house? Like, is that a thing? Could you do a veterans buyers class? Like Angie ran her buyer class, but could you do one specifically for veterans? And how would you get the word out about that? So yeah, you have to think, where are they and how do I get in front of them now is usually the biggest thing. But it's hard to create the community, but if you can go plug into other communities already there and add value, it's a little bit easier to do it. And then there's all the marketing that you can do around that, right? You can go target people on Facebook and things like that, but that's the money spent. I like who do I know that's like helping veterans and can I go add value to that person? You know, I know a lot of people that used to do door-to-door sales and they know how much money they made. So now they're helping door-to-door salesmen invest their like back-end checks. So it's like, hey, October comes, what should you do with all of that money? Like one, let's save for taxes. And then two, let's go buy some real estate, kind of an idea. So if you've defined who you want to work with, It's just where are they and how do you get in front of them? And then are you adding value? And I would also add the caveat of, are they able to buy houses? You know, like if Hunter's like, I would love to help people that are juniors in college start investing in real estate. It's like, no, Hunter, that's a bad decision. Like you might know a lot of them, you might be able to get in front of them, but how many of those will buy houses? I see this commonly with people that are from Mexico. They're like, I want to help all these people from Mexico. It's like, I love that. Can you help them qualify for a house? And that's the first step, because if you're working with all these people that don't qualify, it's not a good market, right? So do they have enough money too? Like first-time home buyers is an awesome category, but can they qualify? So who is your first-time home buyer target? Are they 30 or are they 20? Because those are very different markets. Not to say that 20-year-olds don't have enough money to go buy a house, but statistically, you're probably better off a first-time home buyer that's 30. So, but then you can learn everything about them and how to help them, right? Like, what are the risks? Like, if you're a first-time home buyer, like, how do you help them? Could you help them like saving money? Like, put out content about that, put that in your newsletters, have some classes. How do you save money? Can you know about the best programs and grants to have the smallest down payment? You know, like when we talk about the foreign buyers, can you help them qualify for loans better than anyone else? Do you know the tricks, the ins and the outs, and how are you researching that? Or you might just be saying, I'm helping everyone in my sphere and I will learn it all as it comes. Did you have a question, Michelle? Yes. So there's two big ways. Number one, always come to team meetings on Tuesday, because randomly they'll just get mentioned. And someone will be like, oh yeah, I just did this and this and this. And you're like, oh my goodness, I need to go talk to that person and find that out. The second way is to network with lenders and ask them questions like that. Like, oh, hey, I have some first-time home buyers. Do you have anything that you know of going on? Because how it works for lenders is they have like investors that will have some sort of program that they're like pitching. Their company will be like, hey, we have this cool thing that you can do. And they like tell their lenders about all the cool things that they have. And then it's the lender's job to turn around and try to fit that into their market, which is us. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Well, and that's the thing, is if you're ever doing one of these deals and something doesn't work, go see if you can find someone that does. Go call some local banks. Like UCCU is a great one. Bank of Utah, they do a lot with land, building, commercial type things. And so call some of these banks and be like, I have a first-time home buyer. I want to talk to a loan officer about some of the things that you can do. And you can even let them know, like, look, we went to Security National or whatever, and they weren't able to get the loan done because of this. What do you have that could solve this problem for me? Or what other programs do you have that I should know about? And the more you learn, then the more you can offer. I don't, and I'm surprised that there's not more that aren't like knocking on the door with interest rates coming up.
Yep, Grant, up to, like $5,000.
Yeah,
That's tough.
it's tough. Yeah, with debt to income.
That's a
Yeah.
challenge.
Yeah.
That's the only one I know of that my first-time home buyers, they didn't qualify.
Yeah. I'll see if on Thursday we can get a lender to come in and talk about some of their things that they have going on that we should all know about. Yeah.
All my sons are in their mid to late 20s, with families that have
Yep.
worked in
That's an ideal category for them. Yep. I have this awesome thing. Can you use it? Yeah. Yeah, let's get a lender in real soon. Oh, yep.
So cities have programs like that?
Yeah, every once in a while they'll allocate some of their budget. a lot of the times they'll do it for like first responders or teachers and things like that, because they want to attract those kind of people to live in their city. So like, yeah, for a while, I don't know if they're still doing this, but if you were a firefighter, a police officer, or a teacher, there were a few houses that you could get literally for half the cost. They would literally pay half of the cost of a house. But you had to like apply, and then if you applied, you just like got the house. And you couldn't really decide what the house was. So some of these people would buy them and then be like, I'm stuck here forever, but I have an amazing payment that I wouldn't have been able to get elsewhere. So some awesome things. So listen, this is probably a big thing, and you guys have alluded to this a lot, is as your people are talking, listen to them, hear what they are saying and their problems that they are having, because then you can actually learn what problems you need to solve and preemptively solve those. And then where to get information, be present. When you are in a buyer or seller consultation, try to be like the best listener possible. Don't think about what you're going to say next. Don't wait for them to shut up so you can talk, kind of an idea. Really actually listen to them and do like that deeper listening where you're watching their body language and how they're talking. Are they crossing their arms, leaning back? Are they like hands in, leaning it? Like, what are they like when you're talking? Do they seem receptive to what you're saying? Do they not? Are they sad? Are they happy? Like, you know, I used to send emails out when someone got a new listing. Like it was my job, like a Jeanette kind of an idea. And I always would say, congratulations on listing your house. Well, this one time it was a divorce. They were forced to sell their house. I didn't know this. Buyer, seller hated each other, or the sellers hated each other. And I'm like, hey, Jeff and Karen, congratulations on listing your home. Like, I mean, I didn't have a time to really be present. I guess I could have asked the agent a couple more questions, but that was the last congratulations email I ever sent out, because that was awkward. But so if you can avoid some of those by just being present, listening, and knowing where they're trying to take it, you're going to be way better off. And then this, as you listen, it's going to help you learn the clientele and figure out what you need to learn in your market. Headlines. I would pay attention to the news, like KSL, those kind of things that your clients are paying attention to, your sphere are paying attention to. Because if someone said, oh, I read this article on KSL on why I should never move again. It's like, I want to know what that article said. I don't think they'll ever release something like that because it doesn't help them. But if they did, it's like, what is that saying? And what's the counter argument to that? Or what in it is like stats made just to make a clickbait article, kind of an idea. So pay attention. You're not going to want to just read a headline and say information. You're going to want to read past that and know what's actually going on in the news, what people are telling your buyers and sellers or potential buyers and sellers, so you can set the market straight. You want to tell them what should be going on.
Best cities to live in. I was like, okay, I read this. It was like, you should live in Ogden, and you should live in Brigham, and you should live in Hiram, and you should live. It was only up there. In the entire state of Utah, it only listed 5 cities up there. I'm like, wait, where's the rest of the article?
Do you ever?
So it had to have been a paid for article.
Yeah.
Just for there.
Yeah. I always like to see how they judge those.
It didn't say though. That's the thing. It had like, it has blah blah blah. It has blah blah
Yeah.
blah. Like basically cut pasted on all the cities.
Yeah, it's not trustworthy. I can't believe you. But some of the articles, like Utah for a while was like, we had like 3 of the 10 best cities in the nation kind of a thing. And it was always Ogden, Salt Lake, Orem.
West Valley makes it.
But like the way that they would judge it were like some of the metrics, I'm like, how do you even know if this is a real thing? Like, how happy are the citizens? It's like, are you asking all of us? Like, are you asking me down in Orem when I actually live in Riverton? Like, I don't know. Some of those seem fake to me. So read past the headlines. Yeah, I saw something the other day that was claiming what most people in the world like. I can't even remember what it was, but they said they surveyed 2,000 people. I'm like, okay, so you asked 2,000 people and that represents the entire world. Like that doesn't make sense. So know your numbers. There are a lot of resources out there. Command is great. Did you know, I don't know about the app, but did you know here in this little connect section, there's a lot of resources in learning. So if you haven't clicked on connect yet, there are classes, there are PDFs, literally search things and it will give you a bunch of great knowledge. So if we're ever like, oh, there was this class one time that talked about this and this, and you're like, oh, I would love that class. If you click on connect, you can either find next time it is taught digitally or a past recording of it, or even just the manual, and you can read through it yourself. So a bunch of cool resources. And then obviously knowing your numbers as part of that. If you're not looking at houses every day, you're doing it wrong. I have the KW app. I never use that in Utah. To be honest, I use Utah Real Estate for everything because I trust it more. But as I go somewhere, I will look at houses while I'm on vacation. That is like a common theme. I go to an Airbnb, the first thing I want to do is figure out how much would it cost to buy this same kind of Airbnb? Does the numbers math out? You know, could I get a free vacation by owning the same thing? That kind of an idea. So I like the KW app for that. Okay, questions, thoughts? Are you guys doing this? Have you ever heard of this? Daily success? Yeah. 10 conversations, 10 contacts in your database, 10 handwritten notes, and then do a social media engagement. You like 5 things, comment on 5 things, and follow a new person, I think is what the one is. Oh, send a message.
I did that yesterday.
Good job. Yes.
But just trying to connect with agents. Got to tell you what's out, but there are opportunities. Every time I get on there, I'm too late.
Yep.
Too late. I know there's opportunities out. Is there other ways that we can just like
Yeah.
just like random contact an agent and say, hey,
Yep.
newbie, but I'd love to help.
Yeah. Maybe there's too many of you to give you this advice right now, but I'm going to do it anyway. Set up a search for everything that's Keller Williams Westfield as the office that's active. And you can even roll down that list and choose your open house. Call that agent, be like, hey, I'm in the office with you. I'm one of the newer agents. I want to do an open house. Can I do that on your listing? So you just set up a search. So, and let's even do it. I'll show you. So in Utah Real Estate, if you do a full search, so we can choose active or active no-show would probably be the 2 that I want to do. And then way at the bottom, it has the office. And KW Westfield. There's these other branches. Cedar Valley or Arcadia, that's a rental. Excellence is the Mapleton one. Cedar Valley's Eagle Mountain. Yep. So if you wanted to do something a little more out there, but I just like to do the Westfield. So we have 96 active or active no-show listings. And then so you could even go to number of days back if you wanted to. Somewhere you can do that doesn't have an open house as well. Oh yeah, open house, no. So 78 properties don't have an open house scheduled right now. And so then you can just view results, kind of scroll through. Ooh. Want to buy this?
But
Who's listing $1? Roberto Sanchez. Oh, that's who owns it. Sean Shoemaker. I don't know, but it's listed for $1.
its commission rate is 2.5%.
I bet they just haven't decided on a price yet. Yeah, 2.5%. I will give you 2.5 cents if you sell this house. Yeah, looks like he probably hasn't decided a price, so he just put $1. That's funny. I've never seen that before. But so then you can start to filter it out. Like maybe you have like a minimum price that you do on an open house and you start there. Maybe something like this. It's in Logan, so I wouldn't suggest it, but it just had a price reduction, which would be a good one. And so you can kind of do here. Oh, this is in Orem, so it's so close by. Hover over the picture to see if it works. Let's go expensive. $6 million. This is the one I'll do the open house on. You're all invited.
That's up the canyon of it, but there's some nice houses.
Wait, is that literally a vacuum in the pictures? Oh my goodness.
Like being an agent, could we like ask to like shadow someone who's doing an open house so we can see how they do it?
Yep. Yeah, you could do that exact same thing. So if you wanted to do that, we could do open houses, yes. So there's 18 open houses scheduled. So we could look like, okay, what's close to me? Like PG, let's see. What does it tell us the open house date? 3/16/11/1. And it's Jasmine Christensen. So you could call Jasmine. Say, hey, Jasmine, I would love to help you on an open house.
Don't feel bad if they don't respond. Don't take it personally.
So what?
Why wouldn't they respond? Just out of curiosity.
They just don't. So don't feel bad.
The secret of being a good agent is calling everyone back that calls you. If you do that, you are better than at least 70% of the agents. They did a study one time. Keller Williams had Baylor University do a study, and they said, we want to see how well agents respond to leads and what their follow-up is. And so they had people call agents and leave them a message and say, I'm interested in buying this house that you have listed. Will you call me back? And it was something like 40% of the agents never even returned the phone call. Something ridiculous. Like they weren't a real person, but they didn't know that. It's crazy. Yep. Yep. Agent to agent has the worst conversation. When you make an offer, you should always call that offer call that agent. I sent in an offer. At least send a text. If you're not going to respond by the response deadline or the acceptance deadline, I would like you to send a text. Hey, we're talking about this. We'll have a counter at some point. Like, just be nice. People like working with you. And then when you get in multiple offer situations, you're that agent that everyone loves working with because you're responsive. So you will win over other offers. Yeah.
Is that normal times?
Yeah. Yeah, it seems short to me. Usually I like 11 to 2. Seems like the best for me.
How do you advertise that? Is it just kind of like,
So like if you're doing someone else's open house, tell them to put it on their listing like this, because this will syndicate out to all of the like the Zillows, the homes.com, realtor.com, all of that. It will syndicate out. So it will be on all of those sites. You can post it on like a KSL on Facebook. I know some people that run ads, but the best way to get traffic to your open house, there's 2 things. Knock on all of the neighbors' doors and invite them and tell them to invite their friends, and put a bunch of signs out. Signs drive more traffic than anything, but if you talk to the neighbors beforehand, it almost doesn't matter if people show up to your open house because you can get leads from the neighbors.
And invite the neighbors to come
Yeah.
view the house. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm sure they wanna see what the
That's
neighbors
my
want.
script is like, yeah, come check out your neighbor's house. I don't care if you're gonna buy it or anything. Yeah. Come look at what the house looks like before someone moves in. Yeah.
And I had gotten to put the signs out first and then get into the house and set up. And I had people literally following me. They're like, oh, is how you putting signs up? And I hadn't even done the super and got into the house yet. And they were following me in, so.
Yeah, there was an agent in our office that he tracked where people came from. That was one of the questions when they walked in. It's like, oh, how did you hear about my open house? And he said that 80% plus said, I saw a sign. And so then he just invested in more and more signs, and his open houses got bigger and bigger. And so it was that easy. Yeah, you can either have them made and you can talk to the front desk, or at UCAR, they just sell generic open house signs. And there's also print shops that you can have, like if you wanted your name or picture, phone number, anything. I don't think it matters because it's all to drive people to you. You want them to talk to you. Okay, any other questions? Yes. Yep. Yeah. Well, and I like to use an open house of a reason to talk to people. So, you know, like if you were to do this one with Jasmine, you're in Pleasant Grove, call everyone that you know that lives in like Pleasant Grove and Linden and be like, hey, I'm doing an open house not too far from you. You want to come see a house? Say hi. Like, even if they're not in the market, like that's a reason to call your sphere. You can call, like you can get lists of the neighbors and talk to 100 neighbors. Hey, we're selling a house in your neighborhood or in your area. Do you know anyone that wants to move by you? Great, here's the information.
Houses in my neighborhood, if there's some, I always stop by and say hi to agents that are there, because I never know what client's gonna be like, hey, have you seen that? Have you been there? Is there anything available? And you're like, yeah, I actually saw it.
Yeah.
Because if it's around, what's it gonna take me? 15 minutes? Go and check it out.
All the time my wife is like, oh, let's stop at this open house. I'm like, no. And she's like, well, no, let's just go see the house. I was like, no, we're like literally going somewhere right now. It's like, can we just like, I'll schedule a showing anytime you want. We can walk through this house. She's like, but it's just, it will be easy. I was like, but we're on our way to Home Depot. Like, I have a purpose right now. Yeah, I know. I keep thinking that she should be the one that's in real estate because I'm the one that's like, nah, let's not see houses. Screw that. She's like, ooh, let's go shopping. Yeah. Yeah. Also, if you guys do an open house and you ever have a lot of people go through, and that's relative, right? If you have like 10 people all show up at the same time, that's a lot of people. 5 people all at the same time is a lot of people. You should go and knock all the neighbors' doors. Be like, hey, thanks so much with putting up with all the traffic from all these people. As you can see, a lot of people need to move into your area. I can only sell this house once. Who else in your area wants to move? Or do you want them to move? Yeah. And then that way they start thinking, because when you first knock on the door and invite them, like that's a great question to ask. Like, who else in the area? I can only sell this house once. And they're like, yeah, I don't know. But then when they see how busy it is and you're like, hey, thanks for putting up with all of this. As you can see, like I didn't lie to you. A lot of people want to move here. So who should I be talking to? And then it becomes real and you kind of have a little relationship with them already. Yeah. Yep. Yep. So I clicked full. Probably another way to do it, but I just did it on full. Yep. And then you might want to click clear criteria just in case. And then we're going to want an active And I even added active no-show because that's something that's going to come onto the market soon. And so maybe you don't want the no-show, maybe you just want the active. And then if you scroll all the way to the bottom almost, there is the listing and then the office. Oh, and there's also these jump too. Probably always helpful. And we're just KW Westfield. And then that will be all of it. So there's 96 active and no show. And then if you wanted to say like, oh, I only want things that have price reduction or just on the market, you can start to include some of those because there's ways to search that. So if like 96 is too many to look through, then let's try to get that down. So like, how about listed in the last 7 days? There's 10. If we say open house, no. So we're down to 4. So this week, like if we were doing an open house tomorrow, I like to do like schedule these out like Tuesday, Wednesday is usually the best time to search for these. That gives you some time to market, build a flyer, do all of the stuff. But then you can just click view results and we have all these houses. You can click the grid so we can see pictures. These are some good ones. Also, I want to know if you guys would be interested in helping out at a parade of homes home. Like sitting in the garage, kind of an idea. So I know 2 of the builders that are building houses, their agents are going to be doing it, but they need a lot of help. And I said, I bet I can find people. And so I think they're south of here. Valor Homes. If you haven't met them, they're here in our office. And who is the other one? Green Tech? I can't remember the other one. They're good builders. They're like multi-million-dollar homes, super awesome. So they have a booth in the garage. There's probably even going to do a giveaway. But one of the builders, I think it's Valor, has a home that's like 3 lots over that is going to be finished and for sale at the exact same time. So it's like, oh, hey, did you like this house? Would you like to buy something similar? Let's walk down the street and I'll show you the other house. Kind of an idea. So if you guys are in, I'll make sure that it happens and we can get a list of like when to sit in, but it's 3 weeks, I think. Something like 11 to 8 o'clock at night in June is when it is. Yeah, and we'll sign up. And then I'm gonna even see if we can get discount tickets. So you can like give away tickets or just go to the thing yourself. So we'll do that as another open house, little incentive. Because a lot of people register and things like that. You could probably get some awesome clients. And a lot of them look more like this house. So, okay, questions, anything else? Okay, go make some phone calls. Do this, whatever this 10, we call that a 10-4, but now there's 5 things. I don't know what that means. 10-4. Go talk to 10 people. Put 10 in your database if you don't have 200. Write some notes, engage on social media. And you will get leads. This is the secret to real estate. You now know all of this market information. Call someone and be like, I just heard the craziest stat. I don't know what the craziest stat is. What should we tell people? What would you say? What do you want to say? Interest rates dropped today. Who should be buying a house? That was a great script. Okay, go crush it. You guys are awesome. By the way, 2 o'clock, if you have any questions or anything else, we're going to do office hours. So on Zoom, I think Ritz will send it out probably. So pay attention to the WhatsApp. Click on that if you have anything. If not, come here Monday. Thank you. Thank you.